What's going on, guys? Sticks here from the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I'm bringing you a deck centered around Lycanroc GX, the promo. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, and maybe subscribe. It really does help us out a lot, and lets us do more for you guys. And as for the question of the day, when the GX mechanic was announced, it really turned a couple things in the TCG on its head, specifically all of like the EX, I'm just going to call it EX hate, and by that I mean things like Resistance Blizzard from Regice, Safeguard on Carbink and Suicune, and there might be one or two other things in the game that are like that. I mean, Silver Bangle off the top of my head is the only other one I can think of, but there's probably more. And when the GX mechanic came in, all of a sudden all of those EX hate were kind of just rendered almost, I mean, they're not obsolete, but they took a huge hit in terms of their viability. And the reason I asked this question is because Carbink is in this deck with the Safeguard ability. What do you guys want to see done about that? And by that, I mean, do you want to see cards like the Safeguard Suicune and Safeguard Carbink errated to include things like this Pokemon is not affected? Let's see, what is the exact wording? Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon EX. Now, in my opinion, I would kind of want to see this errated to include opponent's Pokemon EX and Pokemon GX. I think that would make Carbink, or the EX hate, quite a bit more viable. And, okay, I'll be honest, I don't really like it that much. However, I do think that if Pokemon is turning EXs into GXs, you might as well turn all of the EX hate into GX hate as well. So, I mean, that way with Carbink, Safeguard prevents effects from GX attackers, Resistance Blizzard affects attacks from EX attacks and GX attackers. So really, I would kind of want to see that happen, just to make them a little bit more viable, because right now, as it stands, Carbink used to be kind of a, oh crap, how am I going to deal with this? Now it's just kind of a, oh, Carbink, that's cute. So, let me know what you guys think should happen and why in the comments section but down below. I would love to hear what you guys think should happen to all of the EX specific cards now that GXs are a gigantic part of this meta. But anyway, on to the deck. Like I said, it is centered around the promo Lycanroc GX. This is the daytime form. I know the nighttime form is coming out, and honestly, I'm super hyped for that because that thing looks really sick. And not sure how viable it's going to be, but either way, the design, oh, that thing is just awesome. But either way, this Lycanroc, 200 HP, so I mean, overall, one of the weaker evolution GXs in terms of HP. Don't get me wrong, 200 is still awesome, but the fact that it can't take advantage of like Fighting Fury Belt or anything like that makes it sink a little bit in terms of how bulky it is. And then it has 3 different attacks. Of course, the GX attack, I'm going to start with that. It is a delete a Pokemon attack. Lycan Fang, for 3 energy, 200 damage, discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon. Now, honestly, I saw that and I was like, why did you need to discard 2 energy? Because I believe Incineroar is 3 energy, a very similar attack cost. I think it's the exact same except with fire instead of fighting. But 3 energy, it does 200 damage and your opponent's Pokemon is now burnt. So there's no downside to using it apart from the GX attack. Meanwhile, Lycan Fang does 200 damage and you have to discard 2 energy. Now, this could be because fighting has so much damage boost in the form of Strong Energy and Regirock, which, in my opinion, I think that's why they decided to go ahead and quote-unquote nerf Lycan Fang to that effect, just because you can hit for absurd amounts of damage and one shot, like even the 250 HP GXs. But either way, I see Lycan Fang doing 200 damage and you have to discard 2 energy, and I'm like, well, it's a good delete a Pokemon attack, but I'd really like to be able to use Accelerock after that and not just have to essentially start from scratch. I mean, yeah, you still have an energy on it, but you still have to discard 2 of the 3 energy, which is very negative. But on to the other attacks. Accelerock, 120 damage for 3 energy. Not bad. Not amazing, but not bad, especially with all the fighting damage boost, like I said. So Accelerock is definitely a very nice attack. However, the attack that I'm really kind of focusing this deck around is Crunch. 2 energy, fighting, and a normal, does 30 damage, and you discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Now okay, first of all, I'm going to start with the great things about this attack and kind of work down to the kind of crappy things about this attack. So first of all, the ability, or the effect of the attack, discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon as an attack is ridiculous. I mean, that is phenomenal. That is such an awesome attack. It just discards an energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon, whether that be a special energy, a regular energy, all of that. Crunch just discards it. That is great. 30 damage. I mean, 30 damage is okay. If it's 2 energy, okay. 30 damage is okay. I mean, it's not great. It's not horrific, but it's kind of meh. The 2 energy is really where I think that this card falls off a ton in terms of viability. If Crunch was a single fighting energy and did 30 damage along with that effect, I would say that Lycanroc is amazing. Just because slap a strong energy on that, slap 2 Regirocks down, all of a sudden you're hitting for 70 damage and discarding an energy attached to your opponent for 1 energy. I think that would be ridiculous, and I would think that Lycanroc would actually see some competitive use. I don't think it would make it super competitive, but a 1 energy Crunch for 30 damage where you discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, I think could be very, very useful. Heck, even 1 energy and 20 damage with all the damage boosting that fighting has, I think could still be viable. But the fact that it is 2 energy really just kind of makes this card go flush in terms of competitive viability. I still think it's a very cool card and it can win some matches on TCGO. But the fact that Crunch is 2 energy for 30 damage really just makes this card, really just makes it kind of unappealing to any potential users in the competitive scene. Might it still see some use in like a rogue fighting deck? Maybe. But if Crunch, like I said, if Crunch was 1 energy for 30 or 20 damage, I think that this card would see a lot more use. But the fact that it is 2 energy for 30 really just destroys a lot of the potential for Lycanroc. But anyway, enough bad-mouthing Lycanroc. Let's talk about the rest of the Pokemon. I'm going to talk about Rockruff really quickly, because even though I normally don't talk about the previous evolutions unless it's like Greninja, but I do have to say, when I got the codes for the Lycanroc GX, I was really excited because like, alright, I've got everything I need, I'm ready to go. And then I realized that the code only got the Lycanroc GX, and I would still have to trade for the Rockruff. So this little stupid basic Pokemon was such a pain to find, was such a pain to get a hold of. So, I mean, I finally got a hold of it, but you guys cannot imagine how much my heart sank when I redeemed the Lycanroc code. I already had the deck built when I redeemed the Lycanroc code and realized I only got the GX, and I would have to still spend some more time to get the stupid basic Pokemon, the basic Rockruff along with it. So yeah, Rockruff, you were a pain. You better be worth it. But anyway, no more talking about Rockruff, even though it is a hollow basic that isn't a particularly good card. On to the rest of the cards. I'm pairing it immediately with Regirock just because of the Regi power, the attacks of your fighting Pokemon. Excluding Regirock GX, do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Just powering up Crunch, make it more powerful, power up Accelerock, Lycan Fang, all of that cool stuff. And then we are also pairing it with Carbink and Carbink Break, the Safeguard Carbink, because even though GXs are running rampant in the current meta, EXs are still there, and Carbink is a pain for these guys to work around. And then I'm running the Carbink Break, not just because of the Safeguard, I'm actually running Carbink Break for the acceleration that it gives. I mean, the Safeguard is just a complete bonus. Diamond Gift is why I'm running Carbink and Carbink Break. 1 energy for 20, attach 2 energy cards from your discard pile to one of your fighting Pokemon. That way you can power up a Crunch in one turn, 1 attack. You can also, Diamond Gift is the cost and the damage that Crunch should be. Sorry, I'll stop talking about that. But just, it makes me so mad that Crunch is 2 energy. But anyway, running 3-2 of that for the acceleration that it provides. And then finally, 1 Zygarde. We're running all the other support for Zygarde, and also Zygarde's a nice little squishy Pokemon that you can put up their attack for 1 energy while you set up in the background. So really, it's not the focus of this deck, but this card was just a, you know what, let's just throw it in there. It can only do good things for this deck, and so I decided to throw one in there because we had all of the normal Zygarde support anyway. As for the rest of the deck, running 2 Enhanced Hammers, Lycanroc does the energy hate anyway, so why not just throw 2 Enhanced Hammers in there in a turn where you can Enhanced Hammer and Crunch, or Team Flare Grunt and Crunch, or in the Dream scenario, Team Flare Grunt, Enhanced Hammer, and Crunch. Just eliminate a ton of energy from your opponent's board in one turn, can just set them back hugely and put you in a phenomenal position. So running a couple Enhanced Hammer there, running 2 Level Ball because Level Ball searches out both Rockruff and Carbink. If it can only search out like Rockruff, then I'd run 1, but because it can search out 2 of the main Pokemon for the strategy, I'm running 2 of them. 1 switch, because all of our Pokemon have pretty heavy retreat cost, except for Carbink, which has a very, very nice 1 retreat cost. Zygarde has 3, Regirock has 3, Lycanroc has 1, but, I mean, it's an attacker anyway, but mainly it's for the pesky Regirock that have a tendency to start active or get Lysandre active or something like that. So basically just a way of getting those things out of the active spot. For Trainers Mail, helps with consistency, just grabbing a trainer card from the top 4 of your deck except Trainers Mail. For Ultra Ball, guaranteed gets out whatever we want. For VS Seeker to reuse all of our supporters. And then as for the supporters, running my normal 4-2 of Sycamore NN for draw support, 2 Lysandre, of course that's normal. Running 1 Olympia just because when if Regirock, wow, those 2 rocks are gonna mess me up so badly. If Regirock gets Lysandre active and you already burned or had to discard your switch and you used a Float Stone on something else, Olympia is just a nice reusable way of getting Regirock out of the active spot. Now the heal 30 is the definition of added bonus, but really Olympia is there for having a VS Seeker and being like, oh, I can just get Regirock out of there by using Olympia. So that's why that's in there. And then finally, what I said, the dream combo of this deck, Team Flare Grunt running a single one of. Now, don't get me wrong, Team Flare Grunt should never just be splashed into a deck. However, in this deck, there already is a strategy around energy hate with the Crunch from Lycanroc. So the dream combo, like I talked about, being able to just get rid of 3 energy on your opponent's board in one turn is exactly why 1 copy of Team Flare Grunt is run in this deck. Running 2 Float Stone to help retreat Regirocks or Zygardes or Carbink or whatever you want to retreat without having to discard energy. And then finally 4 Strong to add damage, and then 6 regular Fighting, just because Fighting's what this deck runs on. Now, I did want to point out, when I started building this deck, I had a 1-1 of Raticate and Rattata for Raticate's, I don't remember what it was, but either way, it was the Raticate's attack that does 60 times the number of special energy in your opponent's discard pile. And if I had room in this deck, I still think that would be pretty kind of cool as a tech card. Just have a way of just destroying a Pokemon if your opponent has a bunch of DCEs, Double Dragons, that type of thing in the discard pile. I just didn't have room for it in this build. If you build your own deck with Lycanroc, I would encourage you to try it out. I just didn't have room. But anyway, done rambling. Let's go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Dark Skull 4 with a fire deck. So, we don't see any normal types, so we know there's no Shaymin in my opponent's deck. But I wonder what type of fire deck my opponent is running. We do lose the coin flip, so we go second. And I mean, if this deck was more Zygarde based, it wouldn't mind going second. But either way, I am just lucky and bad, so I clearly start with Zygarde. Just lucky and bad, that's all I can say about that. I even start with a Carbink, I start with a Level Ball to get a Rockruff out. I mean, really, if I had a draw supporter, this would be the ideal hand, and heck, I can even Ultra Ball away the Olympia and the regular energy to not only get an energy in the discard pile for Diamond Gift later, but also to grab a Shaymin for draw support. So, very, very ideal opening hand for me. I'm very happy with this. And I really don't know what my opponent is running that is just pure fire. Because, I mean, obviously, if you see Fire Water normal, that's a Volcanion deck. If you see, like, Fire normal, that's something... Well, that's, like, something with Shaymin. But we see the Ponyta. I honestly have no idea what my opponent is running. I mean, at a loss. And okay, well, I can actually win right here. I am just going to level ball for a Rockruff. I mean, I might as well. Okay, 3 strong energy are in my deck. That is good. I mean, it's one's prize, but that's not a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the Fighting Energy and the Olympia to grab a Shaymin for sure. One of my Carbink Break are prized, but I think at this point, I'm just going to try to go for game. If I can get a Strong Energy in a Stadium or a Strong Energy and 2 Regirocks, I can win the game. So I am just going to go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the... do I want to get rid of the Lycanroc? Yeah, Lycanroc and the Strong Energy to grab a Regirock. That way, I mean, all I need is the Strong Energy and 1 more Regirock, or a regular Energy and another Regirock, or just some combination of stuff. And okay, I get the Strong Energy. I need to get something good off this Trainer's Mail to be able to win the game. Well, there's the Ultra Ball. So yeah, I win at this point. I am going to go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the Strong Energy and the Rockruff to grab the Shaymin for the Sky Field, but I think no. I mean, I have the win right here. Just grab another Regirock, play that down, get plus 20 damage, play the Strong Energy onto my Zygarde, go for a Lance Pulse, knock out the Ponyta, and yep, very, very quick first game. And I draw into another VS Seeker. That is exactly what I wanted. How'd you know, Santa? But yeah, I mean, just super quick first game. That's exactly why I run Zygarde in this deck, is for being able to attack first turn, get some damage on board, and even in situations like this, it allows me to donk my opponent. So, I mean, not a particularly great first match, but still showed a portion of this deck, so might as well roll with it. But yeah, I'm going to try to find another longer one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against Reconciler with a, well, looks like an Eeveelutions deck. So, not sure what my opponent is pairing it with, because, I mean, you just saw the Fire, Water, Lightning, and Normal types that we do in the coin flip. So, we do get to go first, and if I had a basic Pokemon at all that wasn't a Shaymin, this would be an amazing starting hand. Like, you know what? Let's replace a Sycamore with a Carbink. Yeah, let's go ahead and just do that magically. If I could start, yeah, that would have been a great, really great starting hand. Float Stone, I guess, wouldn't have been ideal, but meh, I can work around that. Either way, you know what, this is fine too. I run 1 Zygarde in my deck, and I start with it twice, so I'm not complaining at all. I even get a Rockruff. I have a Level Ball to grab a Carbink out. So, I mean, really, this is how you start with the deck, and we're against Eevees. Ooh, this could be interesting. So what I am going to do, just Level Ball for a Carbink. If I can knock these guys out turn 1, that'll be amazing. And I can even, well, yeah, Umbreon is going to go down to, I mean, my fighting types, and then get another Carbink so I don't get an Energy. That is actually very unfortunate. Can I get an Ultra Ball for a Shaymin? No, but I do get a Sycamore for next turn. That's fine. I am just going to play another Carbink down. I mean, just in case, because Safeguard does not protect against GX Pokemon. So I will need an extra Carbink. So, I mean, my opponent doesn't have to worry about Lysandering around a Carbink Break. Because, I mean, Umbreon GX will be able to just knock me out. So I want to be a little bit more careful because, I mean, while the Safeguard is a very, very, very nice tech to have, the reason I'm using Carbink Break is because of Diamond Gift and its ability to accelerate energy so quickly. Luckily, none of my Pokemon have grass weakness. Or, all of my Pokemon have a grass weakness. None of my Pokemon have a water weakness. So that is ideal for this matchup. I won't have to worry about getting like a... I won't have to worry about like the Eeveelutions causing any additional damage. So I am just going to play the Carbink Break down, play the Float Stone onto Zygarde because, I mean, there's nothing better to play on it anyway. And then Sycamore away my hand. Play another Rockruff because why the heck not? I can play another Carbink Breakdown, which I'm going to go ahead and do right now. Attach an energy to Zygarde, and then Lance Pulse for 80 damage, which is actually pretty significant. I'm completely okay with this. My opponent needs a DCE in order to knock me out this turn. Well, no, not knock me out. What am I saying? My opponent has no way of knocking me out this turn. There we go. That's better. Well, we do see the DCE and the Kukui. So, ooh, is that gonna Is that going to cause problems? We see the Rough Seas and the Vaporeon. Oh, that is so cool. I really like that combination from my opponent. That's... I mean, okay. So I know it's very, very situational, and I don't know what stadium I kind of prefer in that deck, but I don't know. Rough Seas Vaporeon is a very, very cool combination, so props to my opponent for that. I mean, usually you just think about the Eeveelutions as adding a type so that you're able to hit for weakness, but adding the water type so that you can take advantage of Rough Seas. Well, Vaporeon and Jolteon both take advantage of Rough Seas, so that's actually a really, really, really cool addition that I am 100% a fan of. I'm going to go ahead and play the Enhanced Hammer, because before I would have been able to just attach the regular energy and then knock out the Umbreon with a Cell Storm, but the fact that he healed that 30 damage makes the math tricky. However, just drawing into that Strong Energy was all I need. I am just going to go ahead and Level Ball. Do I want to grab a Rockruff? Nah, don't think so. So now I'm just going to Cell Storm. With the Strong Energy, I will be able to one-shot the Umbreon GX, take a couple prizes, and I mean, I'll even be able to one-shot this Vaporeon next turn if I can get a Regirock out with an Ultra Ball, which is probably what I'm going to go for. But either way, we see the Nest Ball coming out. I wonder what my opponent's going to grab. Grabs a Yanma. Ooh. Yanmega could be a problem. Yanmega could definitely be a big problem, because it'd be able to hit everything for weakness in my deck. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. Luckily, Barrier Break doesn't take weakness into account, so that's pretty awesome. So he'll only be able to hit me for 50 damage at most. I just had to avoid putting tools onto the Pokemon that I want to be able to... well, the Pokemon that I want to have a little bit of longevity, because otherwise it would be able to Assault Boom. Did I say it? What is it? It's Assault Boom and whatever. But either way, yeah, Barrier Break and Assault Boom. Assault Boom will only be able to hit me for an Oko if I play an energy, or not an energy, a tool onto my Pokemon. Because otherwise Assault Boom will only hit me for 50, Barrier Break will only be able to hit me for 50. And then those Barrier Break hits me for 100, Assault Boom hits me for 100, because that is 50 times 2. Guys, I cannot math right now. I just can't math because I'm a genius. Because that totally makes sense. But either way, I will want to start targeting down that Yanma, because that guy will be a problem. Going to probably power up my Lycanroc in the background, just because, I mean, Lycanroc is awesome in that sense. But yeah, let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the Olympia and the regular Fighting Energy to grab a Regirock. I probably would have grabbed a Lycanroc, but because I have the Sky Field in my hand, I can go ahead and play the Regirock down and then get 5 cards as opposed to... Well, I mean, I would have been able to get 5 cards anyway, but with the Sky Field, I have an extra bench space. Might as well get that Regirock, and I do draw into a Lysandre. That is actually really nice. What I think I'm going to do, so Yanma has the resistance. Let's Ultra Ball, get rid of the Team Flare Grunt and the Switch to grab the Regirock. And do I have enough damage to knock out the Yanma? I think I do. I should have enough damage to knock out the Yanma with a Cell Storm, simultaneously healing 30 damage off my Zygarde in the process. So yeah, now that the Yanma's down, as long as we can keep targeting that thing and keep getting rid of it, Zygarde should... Actually, you know what? I don't even really need Zygarde much for the rest of this game, because Zygarde's already taken 3 prizes. Lycanroc, as long as I don't attach a tool to it, should be able to take the remaining prizes. I mean, even if my Zygarde, for whatever reason, goes down this turn, Lycanroc, as long as I power it up, should be able to heal up plenty. My opponent does get rid of my Sky Field. That is fine. Allows me to get rid of the Shaymin and one of the Carbink breaks. Could have gotten rid of the other Rockruff, but I had the Lycanroc in my hand and figured, why the heck not? Might as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm in a very solid position. And by very solid, I mean I'm in a position where I'm pretty sure I'm just going to mop the floor with my opponent at this point. Because my opponent had to DCE onto a Shaymin. That means that they have absolutely nothing. I have an energy in my hand to go ahead and Strong Energy up and regular energy the Lycanroc to be able to crunch next turn. I have a Sycamore. I mean, I have really all I need, and is that wow, Kukui is my opponent's only method of drawing cards. That's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. On the bright side, I mean, it works better for me because, I mean, my opponent only gets 2 cards. I don't get a fresh hand. And Shaymin will be doing a whopping 50 damage with the Sky Return. So I will be in range of 2 Shadow Bullets. But at this point, I'm just going to power up Lycanroc with the energy, play the other Lycanroc down, and then just Sycamore away. Actually, you know what? I'm holding on to the Sycamore and the Shaymin, I think. Nah, no. Better idea, just to Sycamore away, get rid of the resources, thin my deck as much as possible. Let's go ahead and Trainers Mail, grab the other VS Seeker in case I want a Lysandre again. And the only reason I'm doing this is I want to get rid of cards that way in case my opponent judges or ends me. I have higher possibilities of drawing into cards that are more useful. Now, right here, I'm attacking with Lycanroc. Did I need to? No. I did not need to attack with Lycanroc at all. I just did because I wanted to, and this is a Lycanroc showcase, not a Zygarde showcase. I had the opportunity to, so I just went ahead and took it. In a more competitive and close scenario, I would just continue attacking with Zygarde because I would be able to Cell Storm, heal off damage while taking knockouts. But in this case, I'm not worried about losing at all. I'm in such a dominant position that I don't think my opponent can really do anything, and yeah, they just forfeit. But anyway, as you could see, I drew into an energy and a Trainer's Mail off that end of 2. That is exactly why I was thinning my deck as much as I did. Get rid of cards that would be useless if I got end or judged into them later, and that way I do have the higher probability of drawing into useful cards. So yeah, kind of more of a Zygarde showcase in that match, but Lycanroc was still able to come in at the end and take a knockout. I mean, at least one, just because, I mean, that's kind of cool right there. But either way, this isn't a Lycanroc showcase unless Lycanroc does something significant, so you know what? We're just going to try to find one more with this deck. Alrighty, we have found a third one against a Souls Hunter with a Fairy deck. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, you usually see Fairy paired with something, but, I mean, it's Fairy without a Shaymin, which will be interesting. But either way, wow, okay. I run 1 Zygarde in this deck, and in all 3 matches, I've started with it. I mean, I'm completely okay with this. Zygarde is actually probably the ideal starter for this deck, just because it's bulky, it can take hits, but it can also dish out hits for low amounts of energy. I mean, like I said, I'm completely okay with this. It's just really funny how I run a single copy, and I start with it in all 3 matches. Either way, I'm just going to Sky Field and Shaymin. Let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of a Sycamore and a Enhanced Hammer. Enhanced Hammer, not a Enhanced Hammer, to grab a Carbink, because clearly we are up against a Mega Gardevoir deck, and in a Mega Gardevoir deck that does not have Psychic, actually in a Mega Gardevoir deck in general, there are usually no special energy to be had at all, so I really don't have to worry about that. I'm Trainers Mailing. I didn't grab a VS Seeker right there, and you know what? Let's grab the Lysandre. I didn't grab the VS Seeker because odds are I'm going to be Sycamoring next turn, and I would rather not have to discard another VS Seeker with my Sycamore. So, I mean, that's just trying to preserve my resources as best as I possibly can. My opponent does just attach an energy and a Spirit Link. I mean, that's fine. Oh, they counter... Run Fairy Garden. Well, oh, duh, that makes sense, because, I mean, you're running the Brilliant Arrow, not the Despair Ray. Sorry, momentary mind lapse, but my opponent does just end me. That's fine. I could have played my other Carbink down, but just in case my opponent countered my Stadium, I wanted to have a space available for the Rockruff, which I'm conveniently draw into. I mean, that's just beautiful. And another Sky Field. I'm okay with this. That's actually really nice for me, because I can play the Rockruff down, I can go ahead and play the other Carbink down, evolve this into Carbink BREAK, play the Strong Energy onto the Zygarde, and once again, we're turning this into a Zygarde showcase. Alrighty then. Well, I mean, guys, I promise this is a Lycanroc deck. You can see that I'm running it. It just so happens that Zygarde really can just run through an opponent's deck if you're able to get it set up and your opponent doesn't get anything of their setup. So my opponent will just attach and Link Blast. They don't have anything on the same... I mean, similarly, I don't have anything either. But I am just going to evolve the Lycanroc, then attach the energy to the Carbink Break. I think that's the play, just because it will allow me to Diamond Gift should a really weird scenario come up where this Zygarde goes down. And also, you'll notice I did not Ultra Ball for a Shaymin that turn. I didn't because I already had everything that I needed in my hand, and I knew I would be able to take 2 prizes off of my opponent that turn anyway. So I knew that I'd be drawing into ways of Ultra Balling, or drawing into the means of Ultra Balling. And, okay, this works too. I can even just put the Sky Field back down and Ultra Ball for the Shaymin next turn. I will be getting rid of a Regirock, which is really not something I want to do. But in this situation, I'm actually fine with that. My opponent does just Geomancy is starting to get some energy onto the board. That is fine. I mean, I've already taken 2 prizes. I'm poised to take another one this next turn. I get another Ultra Ball, so I'm going to be discarding an Ultra Ball and a Regirock in order to grab a Shaymin, but at this point, it's worth it to get that fresh hand of 6 and just draw into energy that I need. I'm probably going to start attaching... How do I want to play this? I can manually attach to the Zygarde in order to take the one-hit knockout on the Xerneas. I don't think there's a good way of getting rid of the Xerneas. I don't think there's a way to play Regirock to where it allows me to get rid of the Xerneas. I am just going to Ultra Ball for another Regirock. Just more damage, because damage is amazing and everybody loves damage. And then I'm going to Trainers Mail, see what I can get, anything significant. Nope, I'm going to keep all those in my deck via Seeker for the Sycamore. I would have grabbed the Sycamore if I didn't already have one in my discard pile, but I might as well leave it in my deck anyway. And I draw into a Team Flare Grunt, regular energy, and... Okay, so I am just going to attach to the Zygarde, be able to one-shot this Xerneas. Because, I mean, the last thing I want is my opponent setting up further. And... obviously, the way this live is going, the last thing I want is to apparently have a live centered around Lycanroc that features Lycanroc in any way. So, I apologize for that. Unfortunately, nothing I can really do. I'm playing the games as they're going, and Zygarde is unfortunately just putting in immense work in this live. So, yeah, welcome to the Lycanroc Showcase featuring Zygarde, or the Zygarde Showcase featuring Lycanroc. What Lycanroc does, evidently, is sit on the bench and let Zygarde do all the work and just be like, alright, coach, I'm ready whenever you need me. Yeah, exactly. Okay, it's like being a bench player you're not good enough to make the starting lineup, but you're too good to be on the scrubs at the end of the game, so you really just don't ever end up playing, because if it's a tight game, you're not going to be playing because you're not a starter. But if it's a blowout, you're not going to be playing because you're not bad enough to be on the scrubs. So really, Lycanroc is just kind of like, all right, coach, I'm ready. I'm ready. Whenever you need me, I'm ready. I'm just sitting here waiting. And the coach, with being me, is like, yeah, nah, you're just not good enough. I'm sorry, but you're not bad enough either. Because if Lycanroc was horrible, then I'd have to center an entire deck around it, and then I'd have no chance otherwise. And I'd have no choice but to have the entire deck video centered around Lycanroc. But because Lycanroc is actually decent enough, I'm able to run techs like Zygarde, to where Zygarde can just be like, hey, coach, I got this. Just relax. But either way, Zygarde putting the team on his back, though, and knocking out the Xerneas. At this point, I am a little bit worried. My opponent has a Gardevoir set up. He will be able to knock me out with Luminous Blade, because that'll do 120, knock out my Zygarde, and then I won't be able to one-shot it either. So this is actually going to end up in a pretty interesting situation. Alright, so unless my opponent has another energy, he should not Mega Evolve. I mean, unless my opponent has another energy, Mega Evolving is one of the dumber things they could do, because all of a sudden you turn what was a guaranteed knockout into not a knockout. And oh, okay. So my opponent just decided to do that in order to bring up my Regirock. That is fine with me. I can't take a one-hit knockout on this Gardevoir right now. However, what I can do is actually something pretty cheeky. Let's go ahead and play the energy onto Lycanroc, retreat into Lycanroc, Team Flare Grunt off one of the energies, Level Ball just to thin out my deck. I mean, that doesn't contribute to the cheekiness at all. And then Crunch, discard another energy. That way my opponent cannot attack next turn. Because if I just crunched or I just Team Flare Grunted, my opponent would just need a single energy in order to be able to attack. But because I was able to Team Flare Grunt and Crunch in the same turn, I set my opponent way, way back. And that combo is exactly the reason Team Flare Grunt is in the deck. Usually I don't like it just because it's kind of a screw you to your opponent's card that a lot of people just throw into a deck when they can't think of anything else. But that exact combo is why Team Flare Grunt is in the deck, because you can play that, discard an energy off of your opponent's active Pokemon, and then have Crunch discard another energy, so all of a sudden your opponent is down 2 energy from a single turn of yours. And then if you have Enhanced Hammer, well, that's just salt in the wound at that point. So, I mean, Energy Disruption is kind of the pseudo goal of this deck, but really it's attacking with Energy Disruption as a useful little side thing, as a useful little like side I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Side goal. There we go. The main goal is attacking. The discarding energy is a useful side goal. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.